presentar el equipo que formamos del Centro de Documentación del Idioma Tojolabal, ubicada en la ciudad de Comitán de Domínguez, Chiapas, que los integrantes del equipo, pues somos 5 personas tojolabales. Primeramente hago mención el nombre del compañero Ramón Jiménez, y luego mi nombre, Juan Méndez Vázquez, también formo parte del equipo tojolabal. El compañero Hermelindo Aguilar Méndez es un compañero también que todos procedemos de las comunidades de la lengua tojolabal, la compañera Berta Sánchez Pérez y la compañera Teresa López Méndez. Entonces, desde el año 2007 creamos y formamos este equipo de documentalistas, y finalmente pues vamos a demostrar un poco de los trabajos que hemos venido realizando, del tiempo que hemos, de la estancia y del tiempo que hemos venido trabajando del Centro de Documentación.
Welcome to all of you to the Contagious Education in Endangered Languages Documentation and Renewal Symposium in 2 parts. First part will have presentations by me in English and in Spanish by the other 3 people at the table here, Ramon Jimenez, Juan Mendez, and Hermelindo Aguilar, on different aspects. Ramon will talk about long-term benefits to the community and how the CEDIT, Centro de Documentación del Idioma Tojolabal, CEDIT Center operates. Juan Mendez will tell you more about literacy workshops, and Hermelindo Aguilar will present a report on literature creation workshops. I'll give a little overview and a bit on the philosophy in just a second. Then after a short break, Betty Sánchez Pérez and Teresa López Méndez will demonstrate some of the kinds of materials and the kinds of activities, particularly with respect to revitalization, that we have produced and that we're engaged in. And next we'll have 2 commentaries, one by Jean Simonelli, the other by Margaret Bender. And at the very end, we'll have a kind of, I don't know how many of you are Spanish speakers, you don't look like there are too many of you, but we'll have a sort of free-for-all bilingual discussion as we care to do this, and a little time for people to express their thoughts on it. Up a long valley toward Altamirano and over in this area. So we're right at the border, in contact with languages like Chu and Hakoltec, also called Kopti, and Acateco, and languages on that side. Some of those speakers are in Chiapas, but there are established communities and long-standing in Guatemala, just across the border. With the civil war in Guatemala, many refugees fled to the Tojolabal region across the border in the 1970s and 80s and put pressure on the Tojolabal land and brought military incursions from Guatemala, and then a response from the Mexican side. In general, created very tense conditions along that area. The uprising of the Zapatistas in 1994 added additional conflicts, including ones with the military, and created political dissent within and across villages. Finally, in recent years, the economic effects of globalization, the conflict, and population pressures have impelled many Tojolabales to move to towns such as Las Margaritas and Comitán, and where they swelled those populations and took people away from where Tojolabal is the language of choice. Religious conflicts were sometimes a proxy for political and economic ones. Many persons sought work in Mexico City, and many immigrated to the United States and have remained there rather than risk returning to Mexico, not being able to get back to the United States. 35,000 speakers is a substantial number, but endangerment status of the language is much more serious than the numbers suggest. For example, in 1971, 35,000 speakers was about the number of people